Hello Pega developers, welcome to my channel. My name is Sue. In today's video, I want to show you guys how I created this view for users to select different equipment from a drop-down list. As they make their selections, you can see a short description and a price will be automatically populated. So if you're curious of how I did that, please continue watching this video and let's get started. To start with, I already created an application called Office Equipment, and I also created a case type called Order Equipment. If you don't know how to create application or a case type, you can leave a comment down below and I will make another video talking about how to do that step by step. But now let's focus on today's topic. If we want our user or employee to be able to select office equipment, for example, a desk or office chair, computer, monitors, what we need? We definitely need a database to hold all the inventory we have. So how do we create a database? Well, let's go to data. Right now, there's no data types, and we need to create a new data type called equipment. And we want it to connect to Pega system record. As you can see, after we let it be connected to Pega system record, it automatically generated a global unique ID, also known as PYGUID. We're going to use this later. But other than this unique ID, we have to describe, okay, what is the equipment? They must have a name. Let's also do for auto equipment, maybe they have a short description. Obviously they have a price. Let's do currency. And we probably also want to include the inventory, see how many equipment we have. This will be integer. Okay, now let's add some records. For the proof of concept, I added MacBook Air, desk, and a chair. Now let's go ahead and save it. So what we want to do next is to display those items for users to select from, right? So if we go back to our case type, under workflow, right now it's empty. Now we need to add life cycle, and to simplify it, I'm still gonna call it stage 1. Right now it doesn't matter. Later on we can change it to another name. Okay, and the first step would be select equipment. Okay, let's also name it select equipment. Because our today's goal is to enable user to select multiple equipment. Here, I'm going to select a field group list. If you are confused about the difference between field group and a field group list, I recommend you guys go ahead and watch my previous video. It talks about the difference between these two and also what the data reference is. But for today, I'm just gonna go ahead and select the field group list. Now, here is the tricky part. You can see we can stick with the default select equipment, or you can just click the equipment. What is this? This equipment is actually the data type I just created. But since I don't want my select equipment field be created under that data type, I want it to become its own data type. That's why I'm not going to select that one. So after I create my field and make the type to be field group list, it's asking me under this list, what do you want to present? I definitely need the name of the equipment, and let's also do short description. And I want to show the users how much do they cost. Now, I know that in my equipment data type, I have inventory, but do I want my user to see that as well? Probably not. That's why I'm leaving inventory out. Okay, let's click submit and take a look what it looks like. Okay, as you can see, this is somehow close to what we want, right? We have a list and we can ask the user to add multiple equipment. Our problem has become, how do we populate the name? Like, how do we give them the option? They can't just type anything here. We have to restrict user action, right? So now what we need to do is to associate this blank field to our database. We want to draw the connection between this view to our equipment data type. The easiest way would be configure the view right here. And once you select this field, it's going to say, because the section is not configured for editing in App Studio, you will have to go to Dev Studio. So let's open in Dev Studio. As you can see, the upper one already has a name. That just means this is the label of our field, and you can change it to other name. You can call it equipment name, and it will update the label of this field. But I mean, I feel like name is pretty clear, so let me change it back. And now it's time to draw the connection. So you want to make sure you're clicking this empty field and go to configure. Right now, the sales property is text input, but since we don't want user to enter information, we want them to do what? We want them to, you can choose autocomplete, multi-select, checkbox, drop-down, radio button. Anyway, because I want them to be able to select from a list. So that just sounds like a drop-down box. Once I click that, you will see Pega add a list source here. And the type of list source is a data page. When we were creating our equipment data type, let me show you. Because we connected to Pega system record, so Pega automatically generated 3 data pages for us to use. The first one is just simple the underscore equipment. And we also have a list of equipment, right? And later on, we're going to use the savable equipment. But today, because we want to see the whole list of equipment, like what equipment do we have, that's why we are going to put it here. Here's another tricky part, property for value. If you guys remember, I mentioned this quite a bit, and that is we should use PY-GUID as our unique identification. Now, the next box is actually for what you want to display for the text. So let's see what we have. We have description, inventory, name, and price. So I definitely wanted them to see the name. Once I submit it and save, let's go back to our case. Where is it? So you can see here, user can select chair, desk, MacBook Air. So now the question is, well, how come it doesn't automatically populate the short description and the price? We have those records, right? Why still blank? How do we associate this field to the specific equipment? We already have the records under equipment. How do we draw the connection? Basically, the goal is to copy the data from this class, office data equipment, to this view. I'm sure you guys already have the answer. Yes, we are going to use data transform to transform data from one class to another. You can create a data transform here, but I normally stay away from this create button because I will have to figure out which class I'm applying to and the rule set. So I wouldn't recommend you guys to do that, but if you're familiar with, where to apply to, then feel free. I like to go back to my section and to really think, when do I want to run this data transform? Is it when the user clicks submit button? No, it is not. It's actually when the user change their selection, isn't it? So when they change it from MacBook Air to desk, we want to populate the data transform. When they change to chair, we want to populate the data transform again. That's why we're actually going to this drop-down box configuration and go to actions, create an action set. As you can see, Pega made it really easy for us to understand what's going on. So do you want the data transform run when you click this drop-down box? No. It's when the user change the value. And let's run the data transform. Right now we don't have one yet, so we're going to create one called get details. And now we click the crosshair here. You'll see it automatically gives you the name, the right class, and the right rule set. All you need to do is to click create and open. So now we know that we are under this class, but our records is actually in a different class. Where is my record? Okay, it's here. So those description, price, everything is under SUSU office data equipment. That's telling me this is not a pattern inheritance, it's a direct inheritance. In order to transfer data using direct inheritance, we have to explicitly specify which class and what page. Oops. And now we know the class, what is the page name? We know we have D underscore equipment, we have list of equipment, we have savable equipment. So it's definitely gotta be one of these two, right? And whenever I want to see a short description of a specific equipment, is that a list of description or just one description that's associated to that one equipment? I think now you have the answer. It is just that one equipment. Okay, now we know the source. So it is under the equipment. And we want that equipment's description. And the target would be our current class field. Primary. Primary means this current class. And primary dot short description. So we want our primary short description, this field, to be equal to this field. Now you may think, okay, that looks good, doesn't it? And let's save it. Let me tell you, this is not going to work. And it is because we have more than one equipment. And Pega doesn't know which equipment are we talking about. You may say, hey, don't we have the PYGUID? Isn't that the key identifier? Yes, that is the right answer. We have the key identifier, but we haven't inserted here, right? This data transform hasn't done anything with this PYGUID. So how do we do that? As soon as I said insert PYGUID, you should immediately know I'm talking about parameter. So let's add PYGUID. Now, once we insert that PYGUID, Pega will know. Based on that PYGUID, Pega will find the associated equipment. So we are going to go to this data page and have the Pega to figure out PYGUID to be the same as our inserted PYGUID. This is telling Pega, hey, you need to go find the right equipment that has the same PYGUID as I inserted. Now let's save it. Okay. We have the data transform ready, and as you can see, here's our data transform. If you just click submit here, and later on you will realize this ain't gonna work either. And why? It's because we haven't specified where this PYGUID coming from. And this is the thing about Pega that you really have to get used to. You always want to click press the down arrow and get this. Now you can see it's asking for the parameter, right? But before, if you don't do that, it didn't get refreshed, so Pega doesn't know you have to insert a PYGUID. Actually, let me make this field required so we won't forget about it. Okay. It's asking me what PYGUID do I want to insert. So earlier when I configured the name property, using the drop-down box, I said there was a field that was really confusing. It's the property for value. And by doing the PYGUID, I already associate the name with PYGUID. So here, I'm just going to choose the name property because Pega already knows. Let's click submit. Save. You always want to save it. And let's see what it looks like now. Okay, so it looks like it doesn't do anything yet. Let me open my clipboard and see what is wrong with it. You want to go to PY work page. I see my select equipment page. And if I click it, I can see that it does have a short description, but it's not populated here. So why is that? I see Pega knows that we're supposed to have that short description, but it's not populated. Maybe it's because the property type is text input. So let's change our presentation here. Make it read only. Save. Okay, it is still not working. Let's take a look of clipboard again. Okay, it looks like no matter what we select, the short description is always going to be this. And why does this happen? Well, I know the answer, but you can pause the video and think about it why. Here's a hint. So when we were changing the value of a name equipment, we run the data transform, but we're still missing a step. That is a refresh strategy. So let's add that and save. Now this time should work. Yep, it is working. And as we changing the name of equipment, it automatically populate a short description that specific link to the equipment. Okay. So that looks good. All we need to do is to apply the same method to the price. If you want to give it a shot, please go ahead and do that. But if you're still kind of confused, you can follow me along. It's essentially the same thing. So I first change it to this read only, and then go to my data transform and set the other property. Okay, just like that. Hey, did I not save this price? And just like that, you see, you can select different equipment and it will populate different description as well as the price. So that's it. That's it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Me personally, I really enjoy working on Pega. It makes life so much easier, and everything, like the logic behind it, it really makes sense. So if you guys still have questions, maybe yours sometimes works, sometimes doesn't, you can use the clipboard. Clipboard is our best friend to debug it. If you're still running into different issues, please don't hesitate, just leave a comment down below and we will help each other out. So thank you again for watching this video. I will see you guys next time.